Welcome to the Rise Fitness Podcast, where we explore the transformative power of health and fitness. Join us on a journey to discover the countless benefits of making fitness part of your daily routine. It's not just about breaking a sweat or losing weight. It's about unlocking your vitality and power for life. And hey, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Rise Fitness Podcast. I'm Jillian, and today joining me, we have a special guest, Amber Yoder.
Hello.
Who is one of our awesome members at our gym here in Sarasota. So thank you, Amber, for being with us today. I've been bugging you about doing this podcast interview for like how long? Months?
I would say, yeah.
Months, probably.
Yeah.
I think since we built this space.
Since it became really, really legit.
We were like, the podcast is resurrected and you're going to be on it. It's been a few months. So I'm really glad we were able to make it happen today. And the reason I wanted Amber to come talk to us is so that we can just get a little glimpse into her life, about how fitness fits into your life, why you do it, where you came from, why you got started with it. And we're just going to talk about a lot of things that I hope really help open up people's perspective on what training is for. So I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
So Amber, can you tell us first just a little bit about you, like your family, your kids, all that, so our audience knows who you are?
Yeah, my name is Amber, and I've been living in Sarasota for a while now. But yeah, me and my husband were married, and we're kind of we're the couple that everybody is like, wow, you guys are the cool couple. And it's not because
you're definitely the cool couple.
We're definitely not, though.
Yes, you are.
We have this idea that, like, I don't know, we just feel like anybody can do what we're doing. I think the biggest thing is that me and my husband we're really active, I would say. I would never consider myself as like a super athletic person, but we do enjoy just being outside. We enjoy playing and just sports, but I have a bunch of kids now, and so
could you specify that?
Yeah. So what had happened was, me and my husband were like, 2 is great. We had our 2 girls, and we had a great time having the 2 girls. We were traveling a lot. We lived on a sailboat for a bit.
So cool.
Yeah,
you are the cool couple.
I don't know. Yep. We tried. We were like, we saw some YouTube videos. We're like, we could do that, and we did it. And then,
how old were your girls at the time?
When we were living on the boat, we had Eli. She was 3, and we had Sage. She was 1. So we had little babies on the boat.
Little bitties.
Mm-hmm. And then we decided to move to Mexico. Me and my husband surf. So we lived in Mexico for a year. And during that time, we had a surprise pregnancy, and it was twin boys.
Ooh, we got to even it out, right?
And so now people think that we're like the octomom. Like, I'm the octomom. Like, I like having a lot of kids, but I don't like having a lot of kids, but I have a lot of kids.
You have a lot of kids. Well, you do it very well.
I mean, I think if you don't do it well, you get arrested. I think your goal is just to do it well as best as you can. So yeah, we're the family that has a bunch of kids now, and we homeschool, and yeah, that's about our family.
Awesome. So I mean, you said a lot there. So you lived on a boat, you lived in Mexico, you surf, 4 kids. Now you're homeschooling them. Are you schooling all of them at this point? Or just the older ones?
Just the older ones. The boys,
okay.
The boys are still 4, so they're not at school age.
They're not at school yet.
And homeschooling for a 4-year-old is just like, go outside and play, you know? But my 8-year-old, I homeschool her, and I have a 10-year-old, and I homeschool her too. And now it's getting kind of like, the schoolwork is not easy. So I'm learning long division again.
Ooh, that's rough.
It is rough.
Yeah, that's rough. So Amber, you came to us, I want to say about 2 years ago, right? When you
finally, I'm at the 2-year mark.
2-year mark.
I always was like, it's been a year, and then you're like, no, it's been like 3 months.
Yeah. This actually happened. There was a day Amber came in. She was celebrating how long she'd been at the gym. She was like, I think it's been a year, and I was like, you joined 3 months ago.
And I was like, what?
So awesome, because it was so ingrained already in who you were. But we're 2-year mark. It's awesome. Can you talk a little bit about why you started?
Yeah.
What brought you in the first place?
So at the time I had a surprise pregnancy. I had my twin boys, and when I was pregnant with them, all of my pregnancies, I've always been a very active pregnant person. That's kind of I get really sick. So for me, if I found that moving helps me stay healthy. And so it would keep the nausea down. However, with the boys, I became bed rest with them, and my heart was pumping really weirdly. And so I would be sitting down, and all of a sudden my heart rate would go to like a 190. It would look like I was sprinting.
That's crazy.
Super crazy. So they like had all these tests on me, and basically they were like, yeah, the boys are just pulling your heart too much. So they told me that I just need to be bed rest. So I think I was like 5 months pregnant with the boys, I was stuck to being bed rest, and I had never experienced like anybody that is forced to stay in their bed for extensive periods of time. My heart just breaks for them because it's so hard on your body, especially if you're used to being super active. So once that happened, I just felt like I never recuperated, and then I started pulling my back out after I had the boys. I picked up the boys one day. I picked up one of the kids, and all of a sudden my back was just out. And then I noticed that it was kind of happening more and more regularly. And so for me as a mom, if you've ever pulled your back out, you can't pick up your kids. And so that was huge, like not being able to pick up my own children. And I just had this thought, like, if I don't figure out how to keep myself healthy, then I'm not going to be in the long-term game with my kids, like hiking, going on, like I always prized myself being the mom that can hang, and I want to be the mom when we go on family vacations that walks, and like I never want to be the mom that sits out because they don't feel like they feel like their body can't do it.
Right.
And you see moms do that where like my mom was one of those moms. So for me, I joined the gym after I pulled my back out, and I was like doing capoeira, I was surfing, and I recognized that like I needed more functional fitness because all the functional fitness exercises were some of the physical therapy skills that I was supposed to be doing. Anyways, and then I was like, well, I can work out and get some physical therapy at the same time. And ever since I haven't pulled my back out since I've been at the gym.
That's awesome. Yeah. So like I think like from the pregnancy and the bed rest, you had just lost so much core strength. You had atrophied probably that your body was just like, wait, we don't know how to move properly anymore.
And I had glute amnesia. I learned that I had glute amnesia. That was a huge one. I'm like, my glutes don't work. What are you talking about?
Like, we're going to wake them up.
Literally. And then like when I read about glute amnesia, I was like, most people who experience bed rest have glute amnesia.
Yeah, it's really common also for people who have a desk job. So like they're in this flexed position all day where their hip flexors are shortened and then their glutes are elongated and they just kind of stop working. So if people haven't heard of what gluteal amnesia is, it's when your glute muscles kind of just stop firing, like the signal nerve in your nervous system from your brain to your butt muscles just doesn't they don't engage anymore, but that can be reversed with proper exercises that target the muscles and wake them back up. So it's no diagnosis should ever be a death sentence or a label on someone where like, oh, well, your glutes just don't work. Well, maybe they don't work now. We can fix that. Yeah. But so you do a lot of things. I want to shift gears a little bit. So when was it? Last summer, you were selected for a surfing tournament competition. What do you even call it?
It was a surf contest. So my friend Gigi, she kind of put me on blast because she did this contest and she was telling me about it. And it's called A Great Day in the Stoke, and it's an all-black surf competition. And it's just like people, anybody can go, any different colors. Like we just want to give awareness to people to just get in the water. Okay. So it's a fun day where we do surf lessons, surf competitions. We have a longboard division, a shortboard division. And it's just a good time for people from all over the world to kind of just come and have a great day in the Stoke, like a great day in waves. Yeah. And word on the street was that there is an East Coast surfer, myself, who loves to surf a shortboard or longboard or anything in that matter. And they invited me to participate. And so as a mom of 4, when you get the opportunity where somebody's going to fly you across the country to surf in California, you say yes.
Cool. Because you're the cool mom.
Because I'm the cool man. I just wanted a break from my kids too.
So they flew you. Your family stayed back home.
Yeah, my husband came with me, but the kids were with Nana. Thank you, Nana. And I got to surf and we got swell that time too, which was really cool. And California's, I mean, it's the Pacific, so you just get thumpier swell, like really good swell. So it was really fun, and it was a really cool competition. And I didn't expect to do very good, only because I just am like, I'm the only mom surfing in this competition, and definitely the oldest contestant in the competition too. But then I made it to the finals and I got third all around.
Amazing.
So like I'm pretty proud of myself.
I love it. I think that's so awesome. You went, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna represent Florida, like
just
have
try
some
to
fun.
catch a wave. Like I think I
Right.
was like and plus because everybody says that like nobody's like Florida, there's no surf in Florida. There's no great surfers in Florida. And like now we're just to the point where like Kelly Slater.
Hello.
Caroline
Yeah.
Marks. Like
Yeah.
and then to be like Amber
Yoder.
Yoder.
Amber Yoder. Put her on the list.
But it was kind of funny though because nobody was really thinking that we could surf, and even the guys that I was like talking, like getting my wetsuit on, they're like, "What? You're from Florida? Like I didn't even know there's like waves."
there waves?
Exactly, and I'm like, "Yes, there's waves. There's just like baby waves, and we just get really frothy when there's good surf. We
right.
just
Or when there's a hurricane, right?
yes,
That's
we
when
do love
crazy people go
hurricanes,
out.
cold fronts. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is that I think from my perspective as a gym owner, and lots of different types of people come all the time with different reasons about why they're working out. But I think the most common goal or reason why I see is because people come in and they say, I want to lose weight, or I want to get in better shape. I want to look good. And I feel like, while that's never a bad thing.
It's
right?
never bad to like,
and there's
you know.
nothing wrong with it. I think you are really unique, Amber, because when you came into the gym, never once were you like, the reason I'm here is because I just had twins and I need to lose weight, or anything like that. It was, I want to restore my core strength, or I want to improve my balance and stability and control for surfing, or I want to have an active life with my kids. So I want to talk a little bit about this whole concept of like your why. Because I think what I see as a fitness professional is people come in and they don't really have a why. They don't know why they are training, and they think that maybe it's because they're trying to lose weight or get in shape. And the truth is, that's just not sticky enough to keep you in it for the long term. And like my perspective, we should be training because we're humans, right? Because it's about our well-being. It's about when we're 80 years old, being able to stand up without assistance, and being able to move around and stay independent. Of course, there's physique benefits that are never bad, but what I see happening is if someone thinks like their reason for working out is to lose weight or to be thin or whatever it is, one of two things is going to happen. One is that they may actually achieve that quote unquote goal, but then what?
Yeah.
Right? Then what do you do? Like, do you stop working out at that point, or is it just like this continuous grind where like you're trying to like maintain? Like, I don't know. And it's so superficial that like the motivation doesn't go deep enough to hold people in it. And that's when we see people quit or fall off or go back to old habits. That's one side. The other side is they never actually get it. Like they never achieve that goal. And it's because if we're trying to use an exercise class or a workout, training in general, to lose weight, like it's a losing battle because there are so many issues involved. It's our nutrition, it's our sleep, like that's a different podcast, right? But if we're just trying to like use our exercise, it kind of never happens. And then we fall into this like cycle of discouragement.
Yeah.
And you can only continue on for so long, right? Of not seeing the result you want before you just completely throw in the towel. And my whole point in this is that I want people to find a reason that's deeper than their physique. Like you can achieve a great physique, but while you're doing it, it needs to be for something that's going to like really have sticking power. So you hold on to it. Yeah. So before our mics went hot, you were telling me about like your past.
Yeah.
Like, and let's talk about that and like physique and your changes now and your reason why now and like that whole path. So
yeah, let's
go there.
I think that I would just say when I was a kid, and if you see my if you see all my kids, you can see like they look like athletes.
They are jacked.
They like my 8-year-old has a 6-pack, you know, like
Yeah.
there's just, I was that kid too, where I remember being so little and every time I went swimming, everybody was like, you need to put that girl in gymnastics. You need to put that girl in gymnastics. I mean, I was at the skating ring one time and this collegiate ice figure skater person was like, gave my dad a card and was like, whatever you do, like, she'll be an Olympian. Like she just has the body. She's so like coordinated. And when I was a kid, of course my parents heard the call and they heeded the advice. And so they put me in sports and I just connected to sports. I wasn't a very great student, that's for sure. Like I basically just giggled and laughed and charmed my way through school. But I'm telling you, on field day, I cleaned up house.
Awesome.
Like,
what sports did you play when you were little?
So when I was younger, I was a gymnast first. And then I ended up quitting gymnastics when I was like in 6th grade. And then I tried team sports and I did softball. And of course, I did softball and became an all-star first year.
Wow.
I did volleyball, all-star. Like, you know, everything
Yeah.
I did. And then I did track, lettered, you know, like it just kept going. I did pole vaulting. I and then I ended up doing diving. And I realized when I was doing team sports that I'm really competitive. Like, play a board game with me, like I will find a way to cheat. Like I am really competitive. And I have to like
win at all costs.
Yeah, literally. I have to like tell myself like it's not about the win, but it is. You know?
You don't let your kids win when you play games with them, right?
No. It's
either.
for character.
Totally,
Character
100%.
building.
They have to earn it.
Character building is so important. But I really connected to diving because I found that it was an individual sport. It was a lot of flipping.
Right.
And I also like to flip. And then I ended up just like putting all of my attention into it. I had a really good coach. And I thrived in it. I ended up diving internationally for a little bit. I got a full ride at University of North Florida, Division I.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
Yeah, it was, and I did the college thing for 2 years before I met my husband. I did the whole thing and like went to conference, like, yeah. Got first in my first conference and second in my second conference.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was like pretty crazy. It was like, I don't know, I just think that like I love sports and I had the body, you know, for it too. And I picked the right sport. I think that's the thing with sports too. You gotta like, you can't just love the sport. You gotta have the right body and love
the right body for that sport.
For that sport.
Yeah.
And I picked a good sport for myself.
Yeah.
And so,
I think there's a lot of similarities between diving and gymnastics when you look at the mechanics of it. I've seen that a lot. A lot of girls who start in gymnastics when they're young transition into diving
and
in
it's
middle
easier
school or high school.
It's easier on the body too. It's way easier on the body. Gymnastics is hard on the body.
Totally. So you had like this D1 collegiate experience, athlete figure. Then let's talk about like as you've become a mom and gotten back into fitness. Like, what's your perspective on that? Oh man,
I would just say this is the thing. I remember being like at the peak of my game, like training 2 days, and just I would get stopped all the time if I was at the gym, being like, "What do you do to do your abs? Like, how do you get your abs that way?" And then I had people just like stopping me at the pool and be like, "You have the best body I've ever seen." And if I would have known what I know now, I would have been so much nicer to her. Like I would have treated her so much kinder. And I just didn't know that I was a teenager. I was 20. I didn't know that my body was going to change. And when I had my first kid, it didn't change as much.
Right.
And then I had my second kid, and it did change.
Yeah.
But when I had those twins, that's when it really changed. And also, I had my twins, and I'm like inching towards 40 too.
Right.
Which is another thing. Like you can have great, but you can get through. If you can get through the whole birthing a kid and still have a good body, I'm telling you, as you inch towards 40, gravity takes hold.
Yeah, people ask me about that all the time. Like, do you find that, I hate the phrase, but I'll use it, bounce back, right? Do you bounce back faster from your first versus your second? And I'm like, okay, first of all,
you just melt.
When you had your first, you were younger, obviously, because it was your first. I'm like, be kind to yourself because you're not the same biologically as you were 5, maybe 7 years ago, depending on the age gap. And people expect often like what happened the first time will happen the second, third, or fourth time. And that's just not always the case.
When you're an athlete too, how you treat your body is so different than how you treat your body if you're not used to being an athlete. One thing that people would always tell me was like specifically with my first, wow, you bounced back. And it was a year. But I was doing like at that time, I was surfing and doing capoeira at that time, which is like a Brazilian martial arts. And so I was used to like flipping and surfing and like getting barreled and these like really being hard on my body. And I'm looking at them like, no, my body is not. I am slow. I am fatigued. These reflex muscles that could just do whatever they wanted to on a dime are really challenged right now. Yeah. And so for anybody that is doing any sort of athleticism that depends on their body to move quickly, I would say it took me about 2 to 3 years. Yeah. It was like 1 year to get the weight off and the second and third year to get that quickness again.
Right. For your muscles to respond the way that they used to before. And then you went and had another baby.
And then I had another baby. Yeah. And then by then your body's just like, why? Why are we forcing her so much to get back, And so then there's a little bit of it where your body, I would say my body recognized to just do things differently. So instead of surfing quicker, I surf more efficiently.
Oh, talk about that. What does that mean?
Well,
I've like only dabbled in surfing. I like to pretend that I surf, but I don't. But I think it's so cool. Like I've been able to like get the board to catch the wave and then like stand up for maybe a second. But the wave is so small that it's over at that point. So
I think there's like
it's a cool feeling, but explain what that means.
Those little things where it's like, I know that my pop-up is slower. It's still slower than it was when I was 20, because it's like, I'm definitely bigger. And the reality is just like, I'm almost 40, I'm double in age. So there's little things that you just learn to do where you like learn to engage certain rail in order to like get yourself activated to go a certain direction quicker, and then you learn to high line. So like, yeah, my pop-up is a little bit slower, but I'm like way more nimble on my feet. And I've also picked up other things to keep that nimbility, I guess.
Nimbleness?
Nimbleness?
I don't know.
That's a good word.
I don't know.
But yeah, like I picked up skateboarding to help me be a little bit quicker on my feet. So before I used to not be able to move my feet around my board as much, especially like people don't realize that even when you shortboard, you still move your feet, you don't really realize it. But I feel like I picked up skateboarding and now I found my feet way better. Like I'm just more nimble.
That's so cool. Things that like we're not even aware of if we're not doing the sport or feeling it. So like your ability to manipulate where you are on the board,
exactly,
and how the board responds to the water. So that's what you would
fin
call
engagement.
efficiency.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Fin engagement, rail engagement, and just like recognizing like the physics of the sport. If you don't know the physics and you don't know how to get speed, and surfing is one of those sports where you're trying to get speed. It's not like snowboarding where like you just go down the mountain and you're trying to control the speed. This is like you have to figure out how to get more speed.
And is that so that you can stay ahead of the wave?
Yeah, so that you can be in the right place
in the right place on the wave. Very cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
It's very cool. So you started training a couple years ago, and you found then that you were able to like get back into your sport. Yeah.
I definitely think that.
Had you been out of surfing for some time when you had the boys?
I always surfed, but I guess I recognized that I got to an age that I didn't realize that I had to do kind of the foundation work. And I remember like when you go to the gym, you see all the old guys at the Y. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I do know what you're saying.
They like play their racquetball, but then they also sit on their like rowing machine, and they do these like stationary exercises. And you're like, man, like that's so lame. Like I would never go to I hate the gym. Like I hate the gym with a passion, which blows my mind because it's like your job is like to be there all the time. And you ask me like what my why is. My why has never been to be skinny because like I can't just go to the gym. I love to eat way too much. Like I am not biased to food. I love all types of food. Yes. Good food, healthy food, and the junk food.
And junk food too.
I love it all. But if it's like, if my goal is to be skinny, like going to the gym and then like trying to be on some special diet I couldn't do it.
Well, and I think also coming from your background as a collegiate athlete, you know what is required in order to have a certain look.
And you see
right?
people talk about wanting this look, and I had that.
They don't know what the sacrifice is.
Even if like, just go watch podcasts, like watch Elena Blanchard, like who's like a famous surfer. She's had 2 kids. Look at Bethany Hamilton. If you like, even her, they train still 4 to 5 hours a day. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's why they have those bodies. Mm-hmm. But I don't have 4 to 5 hours a day to train. Mm-hmm. I have an hour.
Right. Some days.
On
right?
some days. And some days it's 30 minutes. Like, you know what I mean? I have that. And I can give my body that. But I don't have 4 hours to have that kind of body. And to sit and so for me, I look at this idea of going to the gym. I don't even like going to the gym. So for me, I look at it and I'm like, I need to be doing the things that I love. And I love surfing. Mm-hmm. I love skateboarding. I love going on hikes with my family. I love being outside. I really do. Like, I wouldn't call myself a nature person, but I love going on a vacation and being like, let's go on a hike up a mountain. And it's just like, let's do a 2-mile hike, you know? I love that I can just do that whenever.
Right.
And that's my why, because there was a season where I wasn't going to the gym and doing just basic functional fitness. And then I wasn't able to do those things. I wasn't able to surf. I wasn't able to go on hikes with my kids. I wasn't able to skateboard. And so for me, my why is I'm at the age now where I'm inching closer to 50 than further away. Mm-hmm. And so with that, my body needs certain things. Like I have to eat a certain way now. Mm-hmm. And I also have to work out a certain way in order for me to do the things that bring me joy.
Yes. And I think that's like so important, because if you don't get to do those things, if you don't get to surf, skate, hike, play actively with your kids, then it's like a piece of you is dormant.
Mama's not happy.
Mama's not happy.
Mama's not happy.
And ain't nobody happy.
Nobody happy.
Yeah.
My husband ain't getting nothing for doing it. Like, he's not, like, nothing's happening tonight. Like, he even knows that about me. Like, that brings me joy.
Yeah. And so you, rather than using your gym time as a time to chisel a physique, you're using it as an investment into your ability to do the things you love. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
And I have to be like kind to myself too, because like there's times where I'm like, I should be at the gym like 3 days a week. And because I'm used to being at the gym all the time when I was like working out, sometimes I can be kind of hard on myself about like, oh, you should work out every day at the gym. And I have to remind myself that like, you're going to burn yourself out, Amber, like 2 to 3 times a week. And then the rest is playtime. It is like surfing, skateboarding, running, being outside, like hike, like, and you'd be surprised that if I surprised myself that I would not call myself a very active person, because I always thought like you had to be at the gym all the time to be active. But
no, it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Once you just create a habit of just going a few times, then you become more active because you're able to do the things that you like to do.
Yeah.
It's like, it just blows my mind.
Yeah. It's true. It's funny, like, when I hear you say, like, I hate the gym, like, my heart goes like, because, like,
no, I feel so bad.
Don't feel bad.
I always feel bad because I'm like, you guys love it. And I'm like,
and we love you too. But, like, so for me, like, my mission is to help people fall in love with fitness, because I know how hard it is. I know how uncomfortable it is. I know how much people loathe it. And I'm like, but I love it. And I'm like, if I could help them find that love, then it helps them stick around longer. But then maybe that's for people that don't have an activity that they love. And that's what I think is so great and so unique about you, is that I know I don't have to make you fall in love with fitness, because you already love surfing and skating and hiking and playing and flipping, you know, and doing all these things. And that for you, training is just like your foundation. It's just your investment.
It's my foundation.
It's just your investment so that you can keep doing those things that you love. So whenever you show up, I'm like, yes, Amber, I'm so glad you're here.
I know, because when I do come, I'm usually like, I don't want to be here, you know?
And I'm like, you're going to be so happy when we get to the end. You're going to feel so great.
And when I don't go to the gym, I'm not able to, like, that's when I always start feeling my back. It's so funny, you know?
Yeah. Interesting.
It's so funny. Yeah.
Interesting. So I just think that, like, your perspective, we were talking about it a couple weeks ago while you were working out. You were like, yeah, I just, you know, I got to stay consistent here because when I do, then I can surf and, like, I'm skating. And you were saying, like, I've just been really hard on myself because I haven't made it in as frequently as at other times, but I'm skating every day.
That was
and I'm like, you're skating every day. That's
I know.
awesome.
It was a big aha moment too, because you don't recognize that, like, you can be hard on yourself and then, like, pull back the layers. You're like, actually, I went on vacation and I ran 3 days on my vacation, and I've never done that. Like, you know, but it is one of those things when you take care of your body, you continue to take care of your body even when you don't realize it sometimes. If you make it a habit.
Because then it's just part of who you are. And for me, that's where I am in the gym. Maybe someone doesn't have a sport or an activity. And so then for them, I want fitness, like their time at the gym, to just be part of who they are, right? For me, it's part of who I am. Like if I'm not working out and doing all the different things, I feel like a piece of me is missing. For you, it's your surfing and skating. So if someone doesn't have a thing, I'm like, I can help you have something, you know, in the gym. I can help you learn to love it. But anyway, point is, like, I think it's great that, like, you have that thing and you had that moment where, like, oh, I know what I really love, and this just helps support that. Yeah. So, like, if you could, like, sum up your why into, like, one sentence or one thought, what do you think, what would it be?
My why I train so that I can play. Honestly,
I train so that I can play. I think that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I train so that I can train harder next time.
I know, you love it. You just love it so much.
I love the pain. No, what I love is the PR. Like, for me, I love the PR. I'm like,
personal record.
My personal record.
You do love a personal record.
I do. I love personal records, but that's me. That I don't want to impose that on anyone else.
I think personal records are good.
Yeah.
I think they're fun because, I mean, I finished I'm doing that race. You know how I'm doing that race?
You're doing a race?
I'm doing a race for my friend. Only for my friend. She wanted me to do a race.
Tell me about the race.
It was one of those dumb mud runs. Not a dumb mud run. It's a great, but this is where I'm like, I don't really.
You're like, it's not my thing.
It's not my thing, but it's my friend's thing, so I'm going to do it for her. So I've been training this run, and I got to the 3 mile mark.
Nice job.
It was my first 3 mile run I think I've ever done, and it felt really, but it was the PR. It was a PR. It was
the longest distance you've ever done?
It was the longest distance I had done without stopping.
That's awesome. Ooh, nice job.
And it felt good.
So what kind of obstacles are they going to put you through?
I don't know, but that's why I've been doing my chin-ups.
All right, because you're going to have to pull yourself over some
pull-ups. I think I have to do a rope. I think I have to climb a rope.
So I heard recently the trick on a rope climb is it's actually your legs.
You have to wrap it around your leg.
You have to wrap around your foot, and then you push with your legs rather than pulling with your arms. So this is just like a tangent. One of our other members went recently, it was spring break, and she took her kids to a Ninja Warrior place, another mom of 4. So props to the moms with the 4 kids. She took her 4 kids to a Ninja Warrior place over spring break, and she was like, she's fit. Like, she trains a lot. And she's like, I'm not just going to be the mom who sits.
Nope.
I'm going to play too.
Thank you.
And so if you follow us on Instagram, you can go to our page, and we actually have a video of her climbing the rope.
No way.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. So she said, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. She's like, it's actually a lot easier than it looks. She's like, it's all legs. You just
I'm gonna
push.
do this. I gotta find a rope.
You gotta go train with a rope somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna find a rope.
This place was in Orlando. It's a little far. There might be one nearby. I don't know. Anyway, so you're gonna do the mud run.
Doing the mud run.
Yeah.
Mud run is in April, and that's like basically what I have scheduled. Yeah.
How long is it? 5K?
Yeah, it's a 5K. Okay. Some obstacles.
With some obstacles thrown in the mix. I've always thought it's like those mud runs are intriguing, but at the same time, like, I don't want to sprain an ankle. For me, I don't know if that's just a stupid mental block,
I think it's fair.
I'm like, my livelihood depends on me being able to
like bubble wrap you.
Keep doing the thing. I'm like, I can't afford to injure myself. I also don't really want to get tased or have to dive into
I'm kind of bummed. Water. I don't want to be weird. I don't really want to get my sneakers wet. I know that sounds like a stupid reason.
That's the other thing. I'm like, what shoes would I wear?
Thank you, because
too valuable.
I gotta way too. I'm like, I just bought some $200 running shoes and I got to get them jokers wet. Like, I'm sorry, I have insoles too because I have my plantar fasciitis.
That's like another $50.
I know. I'm like, can I do this mud run with barefoot?
You probably could.
I do like a train barefoot.
You probably could. That's so funny. So I've never actually done a mud run. I think they're interesting, but I don't know.
We could do one together.
Maybe we could.
I'll do. I mean, if you want to do one, let's do one.
Alex is always bugging me that I never train for anything. I just train to train.
I'm pretty sure that's pretty accurate.
It's pretty accurate. It's like, you should do something. And I'm like,
maybe you surprise yourself.
It's funny. Every now and then I do sign up for like a random 5K. I won't run any more than that. That's my limit. But every now and then I'll sign up for one, like for a cause or whatever. And every time I do, I end up getting first in my age group.
That's really impressive, actually.
It's fun. That's just the HIIT training that I do week after week in the gym. And I say that to people like, oh, if you do HIIT, you can do a 5K without actually preparing. That is not actual scientific or professional advice.
It's actually not really good advice because
really
I do HIIT and I'm telling you, I definitely had to work up to that 3 mile run.
It's bad advice. Don't just go run a 5K without being prepared for it. But what I mean is, like, from a cardiovascular conditioning point of view, you are physically capable of doing it. And so I'll do it. And like, I'm kind of competitive like you. And
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
And I always go into being like, oh, like, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm just doing this to support this cause, whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, like, we're at the starting line. And, like, my alter ego takes over. Whoever I signed up with, I'm like, bye.
Bye. See you later.
And I go, but then I suffer. I pay for it, like, for days after.
Oh, that lactic acid.
Yeah, it's just like, because I'm moving in a different way. So like, I don't know if it's actually shin splints. I think it's just muscle soreness.
Running is hard,
but
man.
Like, I feel like my shins and my hips.
I feel like it's always like my hips.
Because I don't train that movement pattern. I don't run. Only if I'm running to the bathroom.
Or HIIT.
Or running to my workout.
Some high knees.
In HIIT for no more than 30 seconds. So funny. So Amber trains to play. She trains so she can play. I love it. Well, I think, Amber, you are so cool. You're like the coolest. You are the cool mom. You're the cool couple. You do all the things that I think a lot of us sit back and we're like, I want to be like that.
But anybody can do what I'm doing, though. Anybody can do it, though.
And I love your perspective on training and just like how real you are about the body that you have right now, and that we've talked about it before. Like, you want to wear the shorts, wear the shorts.
I know. I wear the shorts. If you
crop top, wear the crop top. Let's talk about that for a minute, actually, before we finish.
I would like to say this: the whole legging thing. I am over the whole leggings thing only because of this. I feel like we're in a generation where we're expecting people to look really, really perfect. Yeah. And so if you come to Rise Fitness, you'll see me, and I'm the thick girl with the shorts on, because I want people to see that legs look different when you hit 30, and that's okay.
And everyone's legs look different. Like, every body is different. Every body is different, and there's not a certain look that you should have in order to be able, quote unquote, to wear something. Things. And I hear people say this all the time, like, oh, I want to be able to wear this. And I'm like, wear it because you want to wear it, not because you look or don't look a certain way.
Just wear it because it makes you happy. Like, as long as it doesn't cause harm.
It's like, if I don't wear crop tops, not because I'm trying to hide something. It's just not my thing. Like, it's a matter of comfort. Like,
dude, I don't
wear shorts, not because I don't want to show something. It's because I don't like the feeling of my skin touching itself. Like, I don't even wear shorts to sleep.
Yeah.
I wear pants to sleep because...
See, I don't like to wear the leggings after doing HIIT. It's hard to pull them jokers up with the wet body, man. Like, after you've been sweating.
It is.
I'm just like, especially in the summertime, I'm like, I only wear workout shorts in the summertime because I'm like so sticky.
It's like, when you take them off, those suckers are not going back on.
They're not going back on. I'm just going to walk in my car with my leggings on my shoulder.
Take it off once. You better have something else prepared.
Literally.
It's so funny. So, yeah, I love that because, like, you've got such an awesome perspective and viewpoint on fitness and on yourself and your expectations for yourself and what you do for your family, and your kids are all in sports, like they're doing all the things too. They're in gymnastics, they're surfing,
skateboarding. They're the ones who got me skateboarding. They're the ones. They're like having so much fun on that, like I want to do it. Like,
were you just like sitting on the bench for a few days and
literally that's how I started skateboarding. I was talking to other moms and I was having a bad mom day where you're in your head and you're just like, man, I'm not doing anything. I can't figure like when your kids are going through stuff, it just bums you out,
Yeah.
And you're like, what am I doing? I got to figure this stuff out. And I kind of reached out to my friends and I was like, hey, like, you guys ever feel like you just have these mom moments where just like things are really hard? And they're like, yeah, but you'll get through it. And that just wasn't enough for me. Mm-hmm. I was just like, I want to be done with it now. Like, I want to be happy, And I walked outside and I saw my girls skateboarding, and we were at this place where they had some extra boards. And I asked one of the guys, I was like, do you mind if I try? He's like, go for it. Put a helmet on. I hadn't laughed that hard in like months. And the eruption of laughter that came out of me because I was like about to eat crap, I was like, and then I just was like, and when you do that as an adult, you laugh at yourself.
Oh, you have to, right?
Yeah, because it's like so uncomfortable. And I just started laughing and I'm like, yeah, I need this in my life. And I haven't stepped back since.
Like, I'm sold.
And now my husband does it. And so we're like a whole little skate family. And it's so much fun, but it pushes yourself because you have so many negative thoughts. You're like, I'm going to die. This is concrete. I'm going to die.
Right. And like a wave won't scrape you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Literally, a wave is like water. Like it's so, and then we live like here, and so it's sand,
Right.
But when you're looking at a concrete slab and you're telling yourself to drop into that you literally have to evaluate your thought processes. And you can see that sometimes you're dark. You're like, I'm gonna die. I can't do this. And then you have like, I don't believe in myself. And then all of a sudden your kid is looking at you and they're like, Mom, you can do this. You got this, Mom. And it convicts you. Uh-huh. It challenges you to get out of your head and believe the truth. And the truth is that I can do it. I can.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna get there if I don't believe in myself. You're never going to do anything in your life if you actually believe you can't do it.
No truer words have ever been spoken. 100% truth right there.
And that's why I love skateboarding, is because you have to be all in. You can't be halfway in. If you're halfway in, you fall.
Right, like you already failed.
Exactly.
Right?
If you're like, you're going to fall.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, you're going to. And because the concrete's there, you just are forced to face your fear. So you don't even do a run unless you're all in. And that's why I love it. Yeah.
That's so cool. What's like the difference like in the feel between surfing and skating?
Oh. That's a good question. I would say there's certain things that happen, like you pivot, like you need, like sometimes you're pivot on a wheel, which I had to learn how to do that. Where like surfing, you feels like you're pushing, Now that I'm getting better at carving on like in the big bowl, like if I'm skating in the big bowl, I can push against the walls more. But before I couldn't do that. And so like you had to, if you turn, you pivot on a wheel. Or surfing, sometimes you can snap, but usually you push.
So it's different.
But it's still like a lot of similarities.
What about like psychologically or like thought wise? Do you find that they're similar? Or do you approach them differently? Do you get something different out of it?
With surfing, I can go like halfway where I'm like, no, I don't really like. I
I'll
can
just chill.
Or I'll like if I'm gonna throw a trick, like if I'm gonna like, I'm gonna hit that lip, or like, I'm gonna do a backside turn here. I can be halfway committal. Or if I'm even taking like a big drop where I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna make this. I'm just gonna try because it's water. Whereas skateboarding, I'm like, you keep your feet on the board. I'm like tunnel vision zoned in.
Okay.
Because if I partially commit, then I'll jump off and then there's concrete.
Okay.
That's the whole different, yeah. I am way more lackadaisical when I surf sometimes. When I skate, I'm like...
You're 100% in the zone.
I'm committed.
So that's really interesting. So Alex was telling me recently he was training someone who has like a very intense
intense focus required in his business. And so he does a sport that requires 100% focus. And he said that he does it because it's the only way that it allows his brain to like escape from his day to day. Otherwise, it's always there. Do you find that when you're skating that since you have to be so present in the skating that like all the other pressures and all the other things
totally just melts away. Yeah. I find myself I get really tunnel vision where I'll like do runs over and over and over and over, where I'll just run the same run over and over and over and over and over again. And you get like really, I don't know. I get weird. I do get weird.
It's like, define that. What does that mean?
Or you're just like trying to get more speed. You're trying to hit one section. You're not making it. So you just do it over. Like I'll do the same run like 20 times within like 10 minutes. And then people are like trying to talk to me and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And I just like, I'm just like, people are all talking, chilling and hanging out. And I'm just like hyper focused, tunnel vision, like a shark. And I'm conquering this. This is what I'm going to conquer today.
Yeah.
And then all of it, and then I don't know. And then all of a sudden I come out of it and I'm like,
and then you just decide you're done.
Yeah. Or I'm like, I'm going to do something. I'm going to try something else, you know? But you do get yourself in a hyper-focused tunnel vision thing. And because it's not a wave where you have to wait for a wave to come, you can just do it over and over and over and over again. I like that.
That's so cool.
That's a sport, though. Sports, you do that. Like when you train a sport, you run drills.
You're running reps on a skill.
Yeah, and you just like train it. And I love that.
That's so cool. That's the point about waiting for a wave. That's really awesome because when I like the few times that I've attempted surfing, like just having that patience and waiting there and just like observing the water and feeling the water, I think is really cool and calming, which for me is great because I tend to be overly stressed out and like trying to do too many things at once and maybe a little bit controlling. Maybe
just
maybe a little bit.
She said it.
Anyway, but it's like totally opposite that. But in the same way, it's also like an escape.
Yeah.
From all the other things.
Yeah. Surfing has its own escape that's really beautiful. And it's fun when you can find something else that is a bit more consistent, you know?
Right.
Like if I probably would never have picked up skateboarding if there was waves of plenty and abundance here.
Right.
But there's not. And so it's nice to find something else where I can I can get the stuff out of my head when I'm as a mom, where you're just like, I don't know, you get in the mom grind, you know, and you kind of,
and that you're your kid's teacher too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, just any parent feels this way. You get in the grind with parenting. It's hard. It's heavy stuff. So to have like an outlet, and I think that's why I love to play. I love surfing and skating because it allows me to get that outlet out.
Yeah. So there's one other thing that I want to talk about before we finish, and it's something that we've shared just kind of casually at the gym when you're there, which is the mental health aspect of fitness.
Yes.
Let's go there.
Yes.
Now, remind me before we do, you have some sort of background also, right? In counseling?
I am a counselor.
Tell me about
I do like to deal with the counseling of things.
Let's give it, what's your background in that?
Okay, so I work with, I have a weird job. I love my job, but it's a weird job. I work with juvenile sexual offenders. So any kid that offends in an inappropriate way, before they're rehabilitated back into society, they do counseling with us. And we do rational emotive behavioral therapy where we identify irrational irrational thoughts. And when people think irrationally, they become disturbed in their thinking. And so our goal is to challenge and dispute. So if you walk...
Could you give us like a practical example? What does that look like?
A practical example is, I will give you one of my core irrational beliefs. I won't throw my clients on blast because, you know...
Just expose yourself.
There's a couple of core irrational beliefs. One of them that I struggle with is I must be loved and approved of at all times. And the reality is... people aren't going to like me, and that's okay. But if I walk around thinking that I have to be loved and approved of at all times, I am going to try to manipulate things in order for people to like me.
Yeah.
And when people don't like me, I am going to be really sad and upset. And that has happened where I've lost friendships and I've tried really hard to keep those friendships. And just based on their own personal views of me, they don't want to be my friend. And that that hurts to the point where I'm like really broken up about it. And I have to dispute that and say, like, not everybody's gonna like me, and that's okay. I can't control who likes me and who doesn't. I can't control people's opinions about what I do and my performance, and that's okay.
So you have this background, right? So you work with these kids, and so you just to give it some framework that you understand mental health from like a
from like a general perspective.
You have actual qualification in the area.
I would say that
I think you do.
I'm pretty qualified.
Pretty qualified. So let's talk about fitness and mental health and what that looks like for you.
Yeah, I definitely, from an early age, I've always been an athlete, and I've always recognized that physical activity has helped me. It helps with brain flow for me. If you haven't figured it out, like, do I have ADHD? Yes. But for a lot of people that do have ADHD, hyperactivity allows their ability to process better.
Okay.
So for somebody like me, sitting in a classroom is not going to work. So when I was a kid, I would go and ask for bathroom breaks and do cartwheels all the way down to the bathroom and all the way back in order for me to memorize.
Was that just like this
is my own way of doing
tool
it.
that you came up with on your own? You just discovered on your own that if you took a break, did some physical activity, then you were able to focus in class.
And when I do flashcards,
awesome.
I have to walk. I pace when I do my flashcards. So for me, it was always movement was a huge thing. But then now we know with research, like the research is coming out, like especially for women, like we need to be moving our bodies more. And you look at most people, like I always tell my kids this, I'm like, if you want energy, you have to make energy to create energy. Like you have to put yourself out there, even if you don't feel like doing anything. And I have one little girl, she gets kind of bluesy. I don't know, like my little Eli, she gets kind of bluesy. And I force her to do sport. Because she'll be so bluesy, and I'm like, just go to the gym. If you don't want to, if at the end of it, we'll watch a movie. I don't care. When we get back home, I don't care if you're feeling bad again.
Yeah.
That girl will start running, and in 15 minutes, she is a new kid. Just totally.
Just flip the switch.
Totally changed.
Yeah.
And we talk about it all the time. And so that's the thing where exercise, we know that exercise can help encourage just brain activity, brain flow.
Yeah.
It also helps mood stabilization. We know this even for postpartum, women who are going through postpartum, it really does help.
It really does help.
So for me, it's like a no-brainer. Like my kids and my family, we have to do sport.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it competitively, but you do. And we don't even call it extracurricular activities anymore. I call them jokers co-curricular activities.
It's required. It's part of the curriculum, right? Yeah. There's a couple things. So there was some research done recently where it was comparing the effects on depression, comparing exercise and actual antidepressant medication. And so it's not to say that there's not a place for medication, but this particular study showed that exercise was even more effective at addressing the symptoms of depression than the actual medication. And so I see a lot of times people think of energy as a cup full of water, and they feel like their water cup is empty because they have no energy, and they're like, well, my energy is really low and I'm tired, so I just don't have enough energy to exercise. But it's the other way around. It's exactly what you said, is that using energy creates energy, and we're like, please just start.
Yeah.
Just get up and start moving, and I promise you that you're going to be more energized. You're not going to use it up. It's not water in a cup, and when you pour it out, it's empty.
It's the opposite.
You don't use it up. It
That's why
actually fills you
don't,
more.
If you look at a lot of
it's
people,
like plugging in.
A lot of people don't like to work out at night because of that. Because it's some people, when you work out at night, you're just jazzed for till 11 o'clock at night.
It's
because
true.
You're just your body's oh, we're hanging out.
We're up. We are plugged in now. Yeah, and it's funny actually because a lot of people will, because they work 9 to 5 or even more than that sometimes, and so they try to work out at night, and we say it's actually better if you can come in early. Come in first thing in the morning. I know you think that it's going to make you tired and you're not going to be able to work for the rest of the day, but it's actually going to give you more energy and your day is going to be more fruitful. If you try to save it and wait for the end of the day to work out after you've already spent all of yourself all day long, that's when, your workout might not happen.
Yeah.
So I see that happen a lot. And then the other thing was, when you talk about like activity is like a non-negotiable, like it's just something you have to do. So I think back to the pandemic of 2020, so like 4 years ago, like to the month. So I had gone from like very, very active as far as, training, right? I was like constantly in the gym, like 2 classes a day usually. And all of a sudden that was all taken away and we're all at home. And I had thought for my whole life that I was just like a very pleasant and energetic, upbeat person. And I still was working out at home, but it was just different. I wasn't able to do it on my schedule or my routine the way I wanted to. And like we had the remote learning with the kids and like we were just inside and all this stuff. And there were some days where I was not a nice person, and my husband would look at me and he'd be like, did you work out yet today?
That's when you know.
Right,
that's when you know.
Yeah, and it was like a realization where I was like, whoa, like it's actually the exercise endorphins. Like it's actually the hormonal response that I'm doing. I'm training every single day and it's just keeping me up and positive and moving. And if I don't have that, it's like a big dark cloud just lingers.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I love fitness so much, because I'm not as awesome without it.
Well, it makes the clouds go away, It's
really
a thing.
does.
It makes the clouds go away. I'll be sitting on my couch just like bummed out, like super bummed out. And I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I have no energy. And that is a cue in my brain to be like, oh yeah, you need to go work out.
Get up.
You need
go
to go
walk,
do something.
Go skate.
Even if literally that is a cue for me. And my kids know it too. They're like, Mom, I think this is just your way of saying that you need to go work out. Like, they know because they know me. It's like they're like so
your
convicting.
Little accountability buddies.
Literally. It's the perks of having children,
They always keep us honest.
No
That's
excuses.
true.
No
That's true.
excuses.
But, you do set a good example for them. And like you've poured so much into them and given them so many outlets too. That's a huge credit to you.
Yeah.
So
praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord on that
Yeah.
one. Praise the Lord.
So awesome stuff, Amber. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Just
Seriously.
like your whole perspective, it's just very enriching. I hope that other people, get something from that and maybe it sparks their beliefs about themselves and why they train and, trying to go a little bit deeper and see, like why am I doing this? Like long term, why do I do this? Because it's not just for a look, which is what the industry tries to sell.
You may not ever look the way you want to look.
Yeah.
And you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
That's like that irrational stuff where it's like at the end of the day, you may not ever get that. So what are you going to be happy with?
Yeah.
Like I'm happy with my family.
You got to be happy, right, with your family, with how you spend your day, with the things that you do that you enjoy. Yeah. Awesome. Well, you're the best, Amber. You're
Thanks.
super cool.
Thank
and I'm
you,
so glad
Julian.
that we took time to do this.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.